There's a pattern to the disappearances on I-70. A rest stop, a security camera malfunction, a figure that appears on footage but not in reality. The last driver called for help 20 minutes after leaving. They found her car back at the rest stop the next morning, untouched. We left the same rest stop at 11:53 p.m. The tapping on our windows started at 11:58.
I pull into the rest plaza at 11:47 p.m., according to the dashboard clock, and the light is almost offensive. White halogen floods washing over empty asphalt like a stage set waiting for actors who never arrived. Lauren shifts in the passenger seat, stretching her neck with a soft crack of vertebrae. We've been driving since Topeka, and my lower back feels welded to the seat cushion. The plaza sits alone against a flat black horizon, no other headlights visible in either direction on I-70. Just this island of brightness. Bathrooms, a visitor center with its glass door reflecting our SUV, vending machines humming behind wire mesh, and a corner booth with monitors glowing blue behind a scratched window. "Finally," Lauren says, unbuckling. "I've needed to pee for 30 miles. I kill the engine. The sudden silence has weight. Outside there's no wind, no insect noise, just the tick of cooling metal under the hood and the low electrical hum of the lights overhead. The air through the cracked window tastes like diesel and hot pavement, even this late. I can see the bathroom entrance from here, 20 yards of open walkway lit bright enough to read by. You coming?" Lauren's already opening her door. "I'll stay with Sadie." I reach back to rub the dog's ears. She's pressed against the rear passenger window, head low, and doesn't acknowledge my touch. Her breathing is shallow and fast. "Suit yourself?" Lauren closes the door and walks toward the restrooms, her footsteps the only sound. I watch her disappear inside, then glance at Sadie again. She's still staring out the back window, shoulders tense. "What's wrong, girl?" No response. Her tail is tucked. I follow her gaze through the rear glass, but see only the empty lot behind us. The same harsh light, the same painted lines marking spaces no one's using. Beyond the lot's edge, darkness thick enough to feel solid. I check my phone. No signal. Not unusual out here. The visitor center still glows with interior fluorescence, and through its glass front I can make out brochures fanned across a counter, a faded map of Colorado mounted on the wall. To the left of the entrance, that corner booth with the security setup, I can see the monitors from here. Multiple screens arranged in a grid, each one showing different angles of the plaza. A woman sits in there, gray hair pulled back, eyes fixed on something below my sightline. Probably a magazine or a phone. I pop the door to let Sadie out for a quick walk while Lauren's inside. She won't move. I tug the leash. She plants her paws and pulls back, whining low in her throat, a sound I've heard maybe twice in 4 years, both times when she saw a snake. "Okay, fine, stay here." I close the door again and lean back, rolling my shoulders. The leather seat squeaks. My watch reads 11:51. Lauren's been gone 3 minutes. That's when I notice the monitor. Through the booth's window, I can see the screens more clearly now. 6 of them. Most show static angles, the bathroom entrance, the vending area, the front lot. But the bottom right screen shows the west lot, our lot. I can see our SUV on it, white and boxy, parked at a slight angle. The camera must be mounted on the building behind me, looking back across the asphalt. There's someone standing behind the car. I don't move for several seconds. My brain tries to file it as a shadow, a trick of contrast, but the figure is distinct. Tall, maybe 6'2" or more, wearing dark clothing that make the edges hard to define, standing 3 feet behind our rear bumper. Motionless, facing the camera. I twist in my seat and look through the rear window. Nothing. Empty lot. the painted lines, the wall of black beyond the light's reach. I look back at the monitor. The figure is still there. My pulse kicks up. I open the door and step out, the sound of my boot on asphalt too loud. The air is warmer outside than it should be, clinging to my skin. I turn and scan the area behind the SUV. Nothing. No one. The light reaches back about 40 feet before it gives up. Past that, only the faint outline of a fence and scrub brush. Sadie starts barking, sharp, frantic bursts that bounce off the concrete and come back distorted. I move toward the booth. The woman inside sees me coming, and her expression doesn't change. She's maybe 65, wearing a state employee polo with a name tag I can't read from this distance. Her face is slack with exhaustion, lines carved deep around her mouth. I knock on the glass. She looks at me for a long moment before standing with the slow effort of someone whose knees hurt.
She cracks the door open 2 inches. Help you? Yeah, I point back toward the monitor. That screen, bottom right. There's someone behind my car on the camera, but when I look, no one's there. She glances over her shoulder at the monitors, then back at me. Which car? The white SUV, west lot, the only car in the west lot. My voice is climbing. I force it down. Can you check the feed? She studies me. Then she sighs and opens the door wider. Come on. The booth smells like burnt coffee and the kind of air freshener they use in motel bathrooms. There's a desk with a clipboard, a small heater, even though it's June, a small TV on mute showing a home shopping network. The monitors are older models, thick bezels, colors slightly washed out. She lowers herself into a rolling chair and taps a keyboard. Which one? Bottom right, cam 3. She squints at the label strip beneath the screen. West lot, okay. She clicks the mouse and the live feed pauses. Time code frozen at 23:53:18. When'd you park? 11:47. 5-6 minutes ago. She drags the timeline back. I watch the footage reverse. Our SUV sitting there, empty lot. Then suddenly, the vehicle is gone, the lot blank, earlier visitors coming and going in fast rewind. She stops, then plays it forward at normal speed. 23:46:52. The lot is empty. A pair of headlights sweeps across the frame from the left. Our SUV pulls in, parks at an angle. Headlights cut. The time code rolls. 23:47:09, 23:47:10, 23:47:11. At 23:47:12, the figure is there. Not walking into frame, not approaching, just there, standing directly behind the vehicle, as if the previous frame had hidden them and the next one revealed them. The woman, Mrs. Keller, I can read the tag now, leans closer to the screen. Her jaw tightens. Play it again, I say. She rewinds 10 seconds. We watch. Empty lot. Our car enters. Parks. One frame, no one. Next frame, someone standing there, tall and still, facing the camera. The resolution isn't good enough to see facial features, just the shape. Broad shoulders, long limbs, head tilted slightly forward. Mrs. Keller sits back. She folds her hands on the desk, and I see her knuckles are white. You need to leave. What? You and your wife. Get in your car and leave, right now. My throat is dry. Who is that? She doesn't answer immediately. Her eyes stay on the monitor. The figure hasn't moved in the frozen frame. Still standing there, still facing the camera. I don't know, she says, but I've seen it before. The air in the booth feels thinner. What do you mean, before? Mrs. Keller reaches for a drawer, pulls out a manila folder, flips it open. Inside are printed incident reports clipped together, each one stamped with a state police logo. She doesn't hand them to me, but she doesn't hide them either. I can read the top sheet. Abandoned vehicle report. Case number 4719. Driver, Melanie Cho. Status, unresolved. 3 times in the last year, she says. Car shows up on the overnight shift. Morning comes, car still here. Driver's gone, purse inside, phone, wallet, luggage, keys in the ignition sometimes. Door's locked from the inside. She taps the folder. The state police take the report, tow the car, search the area. Nothing. No one. They check the footage. She pauses. Same thing. Same figure, same spot. West lot. I can't swallow. Where are the drivers? That's the thing. They don't know. No bodies, no witnesses, no forced entry. It's like they unlocked the door and walked away and kept walking. That's not... I stop. My hands are shaking. Why is it on camera and not in the lot? Mrs. Keller closes the folder. I have theories. None of them are good. She stands. You need to get your wife and leave. Don't stop until you hit the next town. What about you? What about... I'm paid to stay here till 6 a.m. You're not. Go. I back toward the door, eyes still on the monitor. The figure hasn't moved. Mrs. Keller follows me out, locks the booth door behind her with a key from her belt. She walks me halfway to the SUV, then stops under one of the floodlights. Her shadow stretches long and thin behind her. One more thing, she says. If you hear tapping on your windows before you hit the on-ramp, don't unlock your doors. Don't even look. Just drive. Tapping? That's what the last one said. Melanie Cho. She called from the road about 20 minutes after she left. Said someone was tapping on her rear window. Soft, like knuckles on glass. She asked if she should pull over. Mrs. Keller's face is unreadable. I told her to keep driving. She said okay. That was the last anyone heard from her. They found her car the next morning. Back here. West lot. My stomach turns over. Why didn't you tell people? Why don't you close the lot? I report it. They file it. Nothing changes. This is a state rest stop on a federal highway. I'm just the attendant. She looks back toward the booth. I shut down Cam 3 after each incident, but it always comes back online. Someone at headquarters keeps reactivating it remotely. They say people need to see the coverage for safety. Her mouth twists. Safer if they didn't. Lauren emerges from the bathroom, sees me standing in the middle of the lot, walks over. You okay? You look like you saw a ghost. We need to go. Right now. She frowns. What happened? I'll explain in the car. Get in. Mrs. Keller nods at Lauren, then turns and walks back to the booth without another word. I watch her disappear inside. Watch her settle back into the chair. Watch her stare at the monitors. She reaches for the mouse, and the screen labeled Cam 3 goes black.
We get in the SUV. Sadie is still pressed against the rear window, fur standing up in a ridge along her spine. I start the engine and back out fast, tires chirping. Lauren grabs the handle above her door. Ben, what the hell? There was someone on the security feed, standing behind our car, but not actually here. What does that mean, not actually here? I don't know. The woman inside said 3 people have gone missing from this plaza in the past year. Same pattern, same figure on the same camera. They find the cars abandoned, drivers never found. Lauren twists to look out the rear window. There's no one back there. I know, but they're on the footage. I pull out of the lot and onto the access road leading back to the highway. The on-ramp is a quarter mile ahead, marked by a green sign reflecting our headlights. The road is straight and empty, no other cars. The Rest Plaza shrinks in the rearview mirror, its lights fading to a dull glow against the black. Sadie starts growling. It's a sound I've never heard from her. Low, continuous, teeth bared. She's staring at the rear windshield, body rigid. Lauren turns. Sadie, stop. There's nothing... The tapping starts. Soft. Rhythmic. Knuckles on glass. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Coming from the back window. I don't look. I keep my eyes on the road and press the accelerator. The speedometer climbs 40, 50, 60. The on-ramp is ahead, the entrance to I-70 visible now, the white dashed lines glowing under our headlights. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. Lauren's breathing is fast and shallow. Ben, What is that? Don't look back. Don't unlock the doors. I'm not... Why would I... Her voice breaks. What's tapping? I don't answer. The on-ramp curves up and merges with the highway. I take it at 70, the SUV leaning into the turn. Sadie's growl becomes a high whine. The tapping continues, patient and deliberate, perfectly spaced. Then it stops. The silence is worse. I risk a glance in the rearview mirror. The back window shows only the road behind us, empty and dark, the rest plaza gone from view. Sadie slowly lowers her head, but doesn't relax. Her eyes stay fixed on the glass. Is it gone? She whispers. I think so. What the fuck was that? I don't know. We drive for 30 minutes without speaking. Every few miles, Warren checks the back window. I keep checking the mirrors. There's no other traffic. The highway stretches flat and featureless, no lights except our own. At 12:40 a.m., we pass a sign that reads, "Next rest area, 67 miles." Lauren reads it aloud and laughs, a brittle sound that doesn't match her face. "We're not stopping," I say. "No, we're not." At 1:15 a.m., we pull into the parking lot of a Holiday Inn just outside Lyman. The building is 3 stories, brick, lights on in maybe a third of the windows. I park directly under a streetlight, close to the entrance. Before we get out, I check every window, every mirror. The lot is quiet. A semi idles near the rear fence. A sedan with Kansas plates sits 2 spaces over. Normal. Safe. Inside, the lobby smells like chlorine and burnt popcorn. A college-aged kid at the desk processes our check-in with half-closed eyes. We take the stairs to the 2nd floor, room 214. I double-lock the door, slide the chain, push the desk chair under the handle. Lauren sits on the edge of the bed and watches me. You really think it followed us? No, I think we got away. I don't believe myself, and she knows it. Sadie curls up between us when we finally lie down. I don't sleep. Every sound in the hallway makes my pulse spike. Footsteps, a door closing, the ice machine cycling. At 4:30 a.m., I get up and open my laptop. Lauren's asleep, her breathing deep and even. I search I-70 rest stop missing persons, Colorado. The first result is a news article from the Gazette, dated 8 months ago. State Patrol seeks information on missing driver. A photo of a woman in her 30s, blonde, smiling at a picnic table. Melanie Cho. Last seen leaving a rest area near Strasburg. Her car was found abandoned at the same location 12 hours later. No signs of struggle. Authorities ask anyone with information to call a tip line. I click to the second result. Another article. Different woman. Karen Difford. Missing 6 months ago. Same rest stop, same details. The third result is older. A man this time. Paul Eckert. 13 months ago. Same location, same outcome. I close the laptop. My hands are cold. Lauren stirs and reaches for me without opening her eyes. I take her hand and hold it. Outside, the sky begins to lighten.
At 7 a.m., I call Mrs. Keller's number. I found it on the State Rest Area website, listed under West Plaza Operations. It rings 6 times, then goes to a generic voicemail. I don't leave a message. I try again at 8. No answer. At 9, someone picks up. West Plaza, this is Derek. Is Mrs. Keller there? She finished her shift at 6, won't be back till tonight. Can I help you? I hesitate. Did she mention anything unusual happening last night? A pause. Like what? Never mind, thanks. I hang up. Lauren is awake now, sitting up, hair tangled. What are you doing? Just checking something. Checking what? Nothing, it's fine. We should eat. We go to a diner across the street. I order coffee and eggs I can't finish. Lauren picks at toast. Sadie stays in the car with the windows cracked and the doors locked. Every time someone walks past the window, I look up. The waitress asks if we need anything else, and her voice sounds far away. After breakfast, we sit in the SUV, and Lauren says, "We're going home, right?" "Yeah." "Then let's go. I want to get out of Colorado." I start the engine. We take surface roads south to pick up I-70, avoiding I-70 entirely.
It adds 2 hours to the drive, but neither of us argues. Lauren navigates on her phone and doesn't mention the detour. At a gas station outside Pueblo, I fill the tank and buy bottled water. Inside, a TV mounted behind the counter shows a local news segment. The anchor is talking about a stalled construction project. Then the banner changes. Developing story. Missing woman's car found at I-70 rest stop. I stop moving. The anchor continues. State Patrol is asking for the public's help after a vehicle registered to 29-year-old Jessica Tran was discovered abandoned early this morning at a rest area near Strasburg. Tran was last seen. The clerk asks if I'm paying for the water. I nod and hand him a 20. He gives me change, and I walk back outside. Lauren is leaning against the car, squinting into the sun. Ready? She asks. Yeah. We drive. Kansas passes in a blur of wheat fields and empty sky. Lauren sleeps. I keep the speed exactly at the limit. We stop once more for gas, once for Sadie to walk. By the time we cross into Missouri, it's late afternoon. The sun is low and orange, casting long shadows across the highway. Lauren wakes up and checks her phone. We're making good time, she says. Yeah. She looks at me. You've barely said anything all day. I'm just tired. You look worse than tired. She puts her phone down. What are you thinking about? I almost tell her about the articles, about Jessica Tran, about the way Mrs. Keller's face changed when she saw the footage, about the tapping on the glass that shouldn't have been possible. Instead, I say, nothing. Just want to get home. She doesn't push. We reach our house in St. Louis at 11 p.m. The porch light is on, triggered by a timer. The neighborhood is quiet, just the distant hum of traffic from the main road. I carry the bags inside while Lauren checks the mail. Sadie goes straight to her bed and doesn't move. That night, I lie awake again. Lauren is asleep beside me, one arm draped across my chest. The bedroom window faces the street. Curtains open a few inches. I can see the streetlight outside, the oak tree in the front yard, the sidewalk empty and still. At 2:30 a.m., I hear it. Tap, tap, tap. I sit up. The sound is coming from downstairs, from the back door. Tap, tap, tap. Lauren doesn't wake. I slide out of bed and move to the hallway, every muscle tight. The house is dark, except for the microwave clock in the kitchen. I reach the top of the stairs and stop. From here, I can see the back door through the kitchen. There's a window set in the upper half. I can't see anything through it, just the reflection of the kitchen light and the yard beyond, shadows and shapes. Tap, tap, tap. I descend 1 step. 2. My hand finds the banister. The wood is smooth and cool. Sadie appears at the bottom of the stairs, staring at the back door, fur raised. The tapping stops. I wait. 10 seconds. 20. Nothing. I reach the bottom and cross to the kitchen, flipping on every light as I go. The back door is locked, deadbolt engaged. I look through the window. The yard is empty. The fence gate is closed. The neighbor's motion light is off. I check every door, every window, all locked. I arm the security system, something we never do when we're home. Then I go back upstairs. Lauren is still asleep. I lie down, but don't close my eyes.
In the morning, I install additional locks on the back door. I buy blackout curtains for the bedroom and close them completely. I test the security system twice. Lauren watches but doesn't ask questions. Over the next week, I check the locks before bed every night. I search for news about Jessica Tran, but there are no updates. No body, no leads. Just the car, abandoned. I call the tip line once. I tell them I was at the rest stop the night before she disappeared. I describe the figure on the monitor. The woman taking the report asks if I saw anyone in person. I say no. She thanks me and says they'll follow up if needed. No one calls back. At night, I dream about the west lot, the camera angle, the moment between frames when nothing becomes something. I dream about locked doors and tapping that doesn't stop. I dream about Melanie Cho pulling over on a dark highway, about her unlocking the door because the tapping was so persistent, so patient.
I wake up and check the windows. Sadie won't go into the backyard anymore. She plants her feet at the threshold and pulls back on the leash. I don't force her. 3 weeks after Colorado, I'm folding laundry in the bedroom when my phone buzzes. A news alert. Body of missing woman found in remote area near Kansas-Colorado border. I click it. Jessica Tran. Remains discovered by hikers. Preliminary autopsy pending. Cause of death? Undetermined. I stare at the screen until it goes dark. That night, I hear the tapping again. Soft, rhythmic, deliberate. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. I don't go downstairs. I lie still and listen until it stops. Lauren doesn't wake. In the morning, I check the camera footage. Nothing there. I know what I heard. I know something followed us home. And I know that it's still testing the locks, still waiting, still tapping on glass I can't see. And I know that one night, maybe tomorrow, maybe months from now, I'll forget to check the deadbolt, or the alarm won't arm, or I'll be too tired to care. And when that happens, the tapping will stop, because the door will finally open. I pull into the rest area at 2:37 a.m., eyes gritty from staring at the center line for the last 90 miles. The parking lot is nearly empty, just 2 idling semis in the truck section, their running lights casting long amber streaks across the pavement. The air smells like diesel and wet asphalt. It rained here recently. Puddles reflect the overhead sodium lamps in fractured yellow pools. I've been driving for 6 hours. My back aches. My bladder is urgent. The main restroom building sits dark under a single floodlight. As I approach, I see a laminated sign taped to the door. Closed for cleaning, use family restroom, with a hand-drawn arrow pointing left. The laminate catches the light, still glossy, no peeling edges. The arrow looks fresh. I follow it around the corner to a single steel door marked family restroom. The handle is cold. Inside, everything looks standard. White tile floor, industrial sink, changing table folded against the wall, toilet with a black seat, paper towel dispenser, trash can. The fluorescent light hums faintly. The air smells like bleach and something floral, commercial cleaner with a synthetic edge. No scuffs on the baseboards, no graffiti on the stall divider that isn't there because there is no stall, just the open room. Too clean for a rest stop off I-95. I lock the deadbolt. It slides into place with a solid click. My phone buzzes in my jacket pocket. I pull it out. A severe weather alert banner stretches across the screen, but the text underneath isn't about weather. It's an emergency notification from the South Carolina Highway Patrol. Alert. Motorists advised to avoid stopping at rest areas along I-95 due to ongoing violent robberies targeting women traveling alone. Suspect considered armed and dangerous. Use well-lit gas stations only. My stomach drops. I'm at mile marker 104.
A second notification appears, a push alert from a local news app I downloaded weeks ago and forgot about. The headline reads, "Rest Stop Predator, new security footage released in search for serial attacker." I tap it. The article loads slowly. My service is weak here, 1 bar. The image resolves first. A grainy still from a security camera. The angle is wide, showing the front of a restroom building under harsh floodlights. The timestamp in the corner reads 11:18, 3 weeks ago. In the center of the frame, a man in a dark blue janitor's uniform props open a door with a yellow mop bucket. His face is angled away from the camera, but his posture is deliberate, patient. I scroll. Another image. The same building from a different angle. Same man. He's holding a clipboard now, standing beside a laminated sign. The caption reads, "Suspect allegedly uses fake closure notices to redirect victims to isolated areas within rest stop facilities." I scroll again. The third image makes my throat tighten. It's this building. I recognize the angle of the roof, the placement of the vending machines in the background, the faded paint on the brick facade. The photograph was taken here. The article continues. Investigators believe the suspect, who has not been identified, impersonates janitorial or maintenance staff to gain access to locked or closed sections of rest areas. In at least 2 incidents, women reported being directed to alternative restrooms that were either under construction or connected to back maintenance corridors. Audio recovered from one victim's phone includes the suspect saying, "Ma'am, we're actually closed for cleaning. You'll have to come out." After the most recent attack on November 22nd, the main restroom at the I-95 Mile 104 rest area was permanently closed pending renovation. Authorities are investigating whether the suspect continues to operate in the area. I lower the phone. The fluorescent light hums. I look at the lock on the door. It's a standard deadbolt, brass, slightly tarnished, but there's no fire safety mechanism, no panic bar, no interior thumb turn, just the bolt. And on the outside of the door frame, I can see the faint outline of a keyhole. He could unlock this from outside. I stand very still, listening. The semi-engines rumble in the distance, a low baseline vibration I can feel through the floor. Closer, I hear the hum of the lights, the faint drip of a faucet somewhere behind the walls. Nothing else. I look up. The air vent above the toilet is metal, painted white, about 2 feet square. It's positioned directly over the bowl, angled slightly downward. I step closer. The screws holding the grate in place are clean, no paint over the heads, no rust, and the grate itself sits crooked, one corner pushed inward as if it's been removed and replaced recently. I can see a gap. If someone were in the ceiling space, they could see down into this room. My heart starts to beat faster. I can feel it in my wrists, my neck. I move back to the door and check the lock again, pressing my palm against the bolt to make sure it's fully seated. It is, but the keyhole on the outside of the door frame is still there, and I don't know if the bolt is a single cylinder or double. I don't know if a custodial key would work. My phone is still in my hand. I open the Messages app, type out a text to my roommate, at rest stop mile 104 SC. Something feels wrong. Calling you in 2 minutes if I don't text back. I hit send. The message sits there with a single gray check mark. Not delivered. No signal. I try again. Still gray. I look at the top of the screen. No bars now. Just a small X where the service indicator should be. I exhale slowly through my nose, trying to keep my breathing quiet. Then I hear it. A soft knock on the door. 2 taps. Knuckles on steel. I freeze. A man's voice, muffled but clear, comes from the other side. "Ma'am? Sorry, we're actually closed for cleaning. You'll have to come out." The exact words from the article. The exact phrasing. I don't move. I don't answer. My hand tightens around my phone. He knocks again, a little louder. "Ma'am, I know you're in there. We need to finish up in here. It'll just take a minute." His voice is calm, friendly, patient. I stare at the door. The deadbolt is still locked, but I can see the shadow of his feet in the gap beneath the door, backlit by the exterior floodlight. He's standing close. I take a step backward, toward the toilet. My shoes squeak slightly on the tile. I stop. The shadow shifts. "Ma'am, I can hear you. I'm not trying to scare you, okay? I just need you to open the door so we can get this wrapped up. It's late. I'm sure you want to get back on the road." I don't respond. The air vent above me creaks faintly, metal expanding or contracting with temperature. Or weight. I look up. The gap in the grate is wider now, I'm sure of it. One corner is pushed down almost an inch, and through the space I can see darkness and the edge of something pale, fabric maybe, or insulation, or skin. My chest tightens. I can't breathe deeply without making noise. The man outside tries the handle. It rattles once, testing the lock, then stops. "Okay," he says, quieter now. "I get it. You're scared. That's smart. But you're going to have to come out eventually. I hear the soft jingle of keys. I move quietly to the sink. There's a metal paper towel dispenser bolted to the wall, heavy, institutional. I brace my shoulder against it, testing. It doesn't budge. I look around. The trash can is plastic. The changing table is bolted down. There's nothing I can use. The jingle of keys again, closer to the door. I pull out my phone and try to call 911. The screen loads. No signal. I try anyway. It doesn't connect. I switch to the camera and take a photo of the door, the lock, the vent. The flash fires, bright and sudden in the small space. I don't know if it will upload later when I have signal, but I take 3 more shots. The vent, the keyhole, the shadow under the door. The shadow moves. He heard the shutter sound. "What are you doing in there?" His voice has changed, flatter now, no more patience. I don't answer. I hear metal sliding into the lock, a key, turning. The deadbolt clicks. The handle starts to turn. I slam my body against the door, pressing my full weight into it just as it begins to swing inward. It stops. I brace my feet against the floor, pushing back. On the other side, I feel him push harder. The door opens an inch, 2 inches. I see a sliver of the parking lot beyond, the floodlight, his hand on the frame, gloved, black latex. I scream. It comes out raw and loud, echoing off the tile. I scream again, longer, and I keep screaming. The pressure on the door releases suddenly. I stumble forward, catching myself on the sink. The door swings shut. I throw the deadbolt again, but my hands are shaking so badly it takes 2 tries. I hear his footsteps retreating, fast. Then the sound of a vehicle door opening and closing, an engine starting. I stand there, gasping, my pulse hammering in my ears. I wait. 5 minutes. 10. The semi-engines are still running in the distance. No other sounds. I try my phone again. Still no signal. I move to the door and press my ear against the steel. Nothing. I unlock the deadbolt and open the door a crack, just enough to see outside. The parking lot is empty except for the 2 semis. No other cars, no janitor's van, no movement. I step out, moving fast toward my car. The night air is cold against my face. My legs feel weak, but I don't stop. I unlock the car, get in, lock the doors, and start the engine. As I pull out of the rest area, I see the laminated signs still taped to the main restroom door, bright and clean under the floodlight. I drive. I don't stop again until I reach a gas station 17 miles north, fully lit with cars at every pump. I park under the brightest light and finally get a signal. My messages load. The text to my roommate went through 20 minutes ago. She's already responded. "Are you okay? Call me now." I call her. She answers on the first ring. I tell her everything. She tells me to call the police. I do. The dispatcher takes my report. She asks for the exact location, the time, a description of the man. I tell her I didn't see his face, only his gloved hand and his shadow. She asks if I'm safe now. I say yes. She says a unit will check the rest area and follow up with me in the morning. I hang up. I sit in my car under the lights, engine running, doors locked. I don't feel safe.
I check the news app again. The article has been updated an hour ago. Update. Highway Patrol confirms 2 additional attempted assaults reported at I-95 rest stops in the past 48 hours. Suspect remains at large. Public urged to report any suspicious activity. I read it twice. Then I open a browser and search for the rest area at mile 104. I find a forum thread from last month, locals discussing the closure. Someone posted, "They shut down the main restroom after what happened in November, but the family restroom is still open. My sister used it last week and said the lock didn't work right. She had to hold the door shut the whole time." Another reply, "I heard they're renovating the whole facility, supposed to reopen in January. Until then, it's just the one restroom." A third post from 2 days ago, "Drove past there last night, saw a guy in a janitorial uniform getting into a white panel van around 3 a.m. Thought it was weird because the place looked closed. I closed the browser. I sit there for a long time, watching the other cars come and go. When I finally pull back onto the highway, it's almost 4 a.m. I drive straight through to Richmond. I don't stop again. 3 days later, a detective calls me. He says they checked the rest area. The main restroom is still closed, under renovation. The family restroom was empty. No sign of forced entry, no fingerprints, no evidence of tampering with the lock or the vent. He says the laminated sign I described wasn't there when they arrived. He asks if I'm sure about what I saw and heard. I tell him I'm sure. He says they'll keep the area under surveillance and asks me to call if I remember any other details. I thank him and hang up. I don't tell him about the new detail I remembered this morning. When I looked up at the vent, I saw a pale shape through the gap. At the time, I thought it was fabric or insulation, but this morning, lying in bed, I remembered the shape more clearly. It was a hand, palm down, fingers spread, pressed against the grate. I don't drive at night anymore. I plan my trips during daylight hours, and I only stop at gas stations with attached convenience stores, places with cameras and foot traffic and bright lights. I replace the lock on my apartment door with a deadbolt that can't be unlocked from the outside, even with a key. I check the vents in my bathroom and bedroom once a week, looking for scratches or displaced screws. I don't use public restrooms alone anymore. Last week, I got another news alert. A woman was attacked at a rest area off I-95 in Georgia, 200 miles south of where I was. The suspect used the same tactic: fake closure sign, isolated restroom, janitor's uniform. She survived. He disappeared. The article included a new detail. Security footage showed the suspect leaving the scene in a white panel van with no plates, the same van mentioned in the forum post. I read the article 3 times, then deleted the app. I still check the news, though, every few days, searching for updates. There haven't been any. He's still out there. And sometimes, late at night, when I'm lying in bed and the apartment is quiet, I hear a soft creak from the ceiling above me. Just the building settling, I tell myself. Just the pipes. Just the wind. But I get up anyway and check the vent, just to be sure.
I pull into the rest area just after 10, headlights cutting through sleet that hasn't let up since Reading. The lot is empty, except for a semi idling near the far edge, exhaust rising white against the trees. My hands ache from gripping the wheel for 3 hours straight. I'm halfway through a double, left Mercy at 6 after a 12-hour ER shift, promised I'd cover for Jenna in Medford at 7 tomorrow morning. The coffee I bought at the last gas station sits cold in the cup holder, bitter film coating my teeth. I kill the engine. The ticking of cooling metal is the only sound besides wind shoving through the pines. My phone screen glows. 1 bar, then none, then 1 again. I try to call my sister back. She texted an hour ago asking if I'm okay, but the call drops before it connects. I pocket it and step out into air so cold it burns my sinuses. Sleet stings my cheeks. The asphalt is black and slick, reflecting the single sodium light that buzzes over the restroom building. The bathroom is cinder block, painted institutional beige, corners dark with mold. A hand dryer hangs crooked on the wall, and the mirror has a crack running diagonally across it. I wash my hands under water that never gets warm, watching my reflection split in two. My scrubs are wrinkled. There's a coffee stain on the left sleeve. I look older than 34 under this light, hollows under my eyes, the kind of fatigue that doesn't leave after 1 good night's sleep. Outside, the wind is picked up. I zip my coat to my chin and stand under the overhang, reluctant to get back in the car just yet. My lower back throbs. The semi's still running, but I can't see the driver. To my right, bolted to the brick next to the women's room, is an old emergency call box. The metal casing is dented, paint flaking, and there's a faded instructional placard beneath it. For stranded motorists, lift receiver, help will be dispatched. The receiver hangs on a coiled metal cord, the kind that used to be on payphones. I've passed these boxes 100 times and never seen one in use. I'm about to turn away when it rings. The sound is shrill and mechanical, nothing like a cell phone. It cuts through the wind, 2 long pulses, then silence, then 2 more. I stare at it. My first thought is malfunction, some automated test cycle from a system nobody maintains anymore. But it keeps ringing, 4 times, 6. I glance toward the semi. No movement. The sleet thickens, tapping on the overhang above me. I reach for the receiver and lift it to my ear. Static first, then a small, wet gasp. A child, maybe 6 or 7, boy or girl, I can't tell. The voice is high and shaking. Please, please, my mom's not waking up. My heart kicks once, hard. Hello? Where are you? They said someone would come from this phone. Please hurry. The child is crying now, trying to breathe and talk at the same time. She won't open her eyes. Okay, listen to me. I press the receiver tight against my ear, other hand cupped over the mouthpiece to block the wind. Where's your mom? What happened? We slid. The car went off the road. There's water, and it's so cold, and she's just sitting there, and she won't answer me. Where are you? Can you see a mile marker or a sign? A long pause. I hear the child's breath, jagged and too fast. The sign with the bear, the big one, right by the trees. Okay, that's good. Stay with your mom, okay? Don't leave the car. I'm calling for help right now. Please hurry, please. The line goes dead. No static, no click, just silence. I pull the receiver away and stare at it. My pulse hammers in my throat. I lower the receiver back onto its hook and immediately pull out my phone. Still 1 bar. I dial 911, wait through 2 rings, and a woman's voice answers. 911, what's your emergency? I just got a call on an emergency call box at the rest area, mile 214 northbound on I-5. A child said their mother's unconscious. Car spun out near a sign with a bear. I don't know how far, maybe just past this stop? Ma'am, can you repeat the location of the call box? Mile 214 rest area, northbound. The box is right next to the women's restroom. The kids sounded terrified. They said the car's in a ditch by... Hold on.
Pause. Keys clicking. Ma'am, those boxes were deactivated in 2017. They're not connected to our dispatch system anymore. I blink into the sleet. What? The emergency call boxes on that stretch were taken offline when we upgraded to cell-based dispatch. If you received a call on one, it wasn't routed through us. But I turn and look at the box. The receiver is still swaying slightly on its cord. I'm looking at it right now. It rang. A kid answered. More typing. Then the dispatcher's voice shifts, quieter. Ma'am, there is a location near mile 217 with a Siskiyou County welcome sign. There's a bear on it. Are you familiar with that area? No, I'm just passing through. There was a fatal accident there in 2019. Single vehicle collision in winter conditions. A mother died on impact. Her son was found at the rest area you're calling from. He was 7, hypothermic, in shock. He kept saying he'd used the call box to get help. My breath fogs in front of me. What? The box was already deactivated. He couldn't have used it. Search and rescue found him at the rest area 3 hours after the crash. The mother had been dead since impact. A pause. Ma'am, I'm advising you not to stop on the shoulder in this weather. Visibility's poor and the road's icing over. If you see anything, call us back, but do not exit your vehicle. Okay. My voice is thin. Okay. I end the call. My hand is shaking. I look at the box again, then at the road beyond the lot. The sleet is turning to snow now, thick flakes swirling in the headlights of a passing truck. I think about the child's voice, the wet gasps, the specificity of the sign with the bear. I think about a 7-year-old walking here in the cold, alone, and lifting a dead receiver. I get back in my car. The heater blows stale air. I sit for a minute, gripping the wheel, then start the engine. The dispatcher said not to stop.
She said the mother died on impact 6 years ago, but the call was now. I heard it. I pull out of the lot and merge back onto I-5, wipers beating against the snow. Mile 215. The highway is empty. My headlights catch the broken white line and nothing else. Mile 216. I'm going 50 in a 65. Hands tight, eyes flicking to the shoulder. Mile 217. The snow is heavier now, accumulating in the breakdown lane, and then I see it. A green reflective sign on the right, half buried in shadow. Welcome to Siskiyou County, and beneath the text, the outline of a bear. I slow further, 30 miles an hour, 20. To the right of the sign, the shoulder drops off into a shallow ditch, the kind that fills with runoff in the spring. My headlights sweep across it as I crawl past, and I see the ditch is full of dark, half-frozen slush. No car, no wreckage, no skid marks. But there, just at the edge of my headlights, are 2 small footprints. They start at the bottom of the ditch, pressed into fresh slush that hasn't hardened yet. Child-sized, widely spaced, like someone running or stumbling. They lead up the slope, crossing the shoulder, and stop exactly at the edge of the asphalt. I stop the car, put it in park, stare through the windshield, wipers still going. The footprints are maybe 10 feet ahead of me, illuminated in my high beams. They're filling in slowly as snow falls, but they're there, distinct, wet. I don't get out. I sit and watch them and feel something cold settle low in my stomach. The prints stop just where the ditch meets the road, right where an old call box structure would have been before they removed it. The bolts are probably still in the pavement. I take out my phone. No signal. I try 911 anyway. Nothing. I put the car back in drive and accelerate slowly, watching the footprints disappear behind me. I don't stop again until I reach Medford, 40 minutes later, hands numb on the wheel.
At a gas station off the exit, I pull up the local news archives on the station Wi-Fi. It takes 3 searches before I find it. Fatal crash claims Reading woman. Son survives. February 2019. The article is short. Amanda Preston, 31, lost control on black ice near mile 217. Her white Honda Civic spun into the ditch. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Her son, Ethan, was found hours later at the mile 214 rest area, 3 miles south. He told first responders he'd called for help from the emergency phone. He described his mother's injuries in detail. He knew she was dead. But he'd walked away from the car, back down the highway in the dark to find the box he'd seen on the drive up earlier that day. The article notes the box had been deactivated 2 years prior. There is a photo, a small boy with a shock blanket around his shoulders, staring at the camera with no expression at all. I zoom in on his face. Then I close the browser and sit in the driver's seat with the dome light on, listening to the hum of the refrigerators inside the gas station. I don't go back. I finish the drive to Medford, check into a motel, and lie awake until my alarm goes off at 5. At the hospital, I work my shift. I smile at patients. I check vitals. I don't tell anyone. But I start carrying a second phone charger in my bag. I program the direct dispatch numbers for every county along I-5 into my contacts. I don't use rest areas anymore. I stop at truck stops, places with lights and people and cameras. When I'm on a night drive and I pass mile 217, I keep my eyes on the center line. I don't look at the shoulder. I tried to search for Ethan Preston once, a month after it happened. I found a reference to a custody case. His father, who'd been separated from Amanda, took him to Idaho. After that, nothing. I still hear the call sometimes when I'm trying to fall asleep, the hitch in his breath. She won't open her eyes. I wonder if he still hears it too, or if he's the only one who doesn't have to. I don't drive that route anymore if I can help it. When I do, I make sure my phone is fully charged and I don't stop until I'm past Siskiyou County. But sometimes, when I'm alone on a night shift and the hospital is quiet, I think about the footprints in the slush and how they were filling in with fresh snow even as I watched them. They were new.
I'd pull into the rest area at 11:43 p.m., headlights washing over the cracked pavement and the single sodium lamp that flickers above the cinder block bathroom. The place is empty. No semis idling, no cars tucked into the shadowed corners near the picnic tables. Just me and the humming vending machines bolted to the exterior wall. I've been driving for 6 hours, dissertation notes scattered across the passenger seat, and my bladder won't make it to the next town. The night is cool for September, dry wind pushing through the scrub grass that lines the rest area. I can see the interstate from here, headlights streaking past every few minutes, but the sound doesn't carry. It's quiet in that specific way that happens when you're far enough from civilization that ambient noise just stops. I lock the car, habit from living in Philadelphia for 3 years, and cross to the bathroom, gravel crunching under my sneakers. Inside, the fluorescents buzz and cast everything in greenish light. The stalls are clean enough. I finish quickly, wash my hands with the gritty pink soap, and check my phone. No signal. Not surprising. This stretch of Route 81 through Western Virginia cuts through valleys that eat cell coverage. I've driven it twice before, visits to my parents' place outside Roanoke, and I know the dead zones by heart now. Back at the car, I climb in and start the engine. The radio comes on automatically, mid-sentence, and I reach to change the station. I'd been listening to NPR back in Maryland, but the signal gave out 2 hours ago. My hand freezes. The child, identified as Daniel Cormier, age 7, remains missing. Authorities are asking anyone with information to contact the Virginia State Police at the number below. The vehicle, a 1994 Honda Accord, was recovered from the embankment at exit 47 southbound at approximately 2:15 a.m. on October 13, 1999. The driver, Patricia Cormier, age 31, was pronounced dead at the scene. The child's car seat was found intact but empty. Search efforts are ongoing within a 2-mile radius of... The voice is flat, institutional, the kind of measured tone used in public service announcements. There's a faint static underneath, like the broadcast is coming from far away or through old equipment. I stare at the radio display, 88.5 FM. I don't recognize the frequency. It's not one I've ever landed on during my drives, too low on the dial, the kind of range that usually hosts college stations or community radio. The loop is tight, maybe 90 seconds, and it doesn't include any disclaimer. No introduction, no station identification, just the same information, cycling again and again. I let it play 3 more times while I sit there, engine running, heat creeping up the back of my neck despite the cool air. Then I grab my phone and open the voice recorder app. No signal means I can't post it immediately, but I can capture it. I hold the phone near the speaker and let it run for 2 full cycles. When I shift into drive and pull back onto the interstate, the signal cuts out within a half a mile. Static replaces it. Then silence as the frequency goes dead. I try scanning nearby stations. Nothing. I punch 88.5 back in manually. Nothing. 40 minutes later, I'm parked in my parents' driveway in Roanoke, uploading the recording to Reddit and Twitter under the same username I use for my folklore and weird Americana posts. I title it, Strange Looping PSA on 88.5 FM near exit 47, Route 81 South. Anyone else heard this? I include timestamps, the exact location, and a request for information. Then I plug my phone in and collapse into my childhood bed, the ceiling fan's slow rotation barely stirring the stale air. I sleep poorly. I keep hearing the voice in my head, that measured, looping cadence, the name Daniel Cormier repeating like a chant.
By morning, the post has 43 replies. I sit at my parents' kitchen table, coffee going cold in my mug, scrolling through responses on my laptop. Most were skeptical, people suggesting I faked it, that it's an elaborate hoax, that I'm plugging a podcast or ARG. But 7 replies stand out. A user in Tennessee says they picked up the same broadcast 2 weeks ago near the Tennessee-Virginia border, same frequency. Another in West Virginia confirms hearing it 3 months back, also at night, driving south. A third user, posting from a town called Wiveville, barely 20 miles from exit 47, says they've heard it intermittently for years, always late at night, always within a 10-mile radius of that rest area. They thought it was a prank or some kind of pirate radio loop. Someone else links a 1999 article from the Roanoke Times. The headline reads, "Mother dies in single car crash. Child still missing after 5 days." The details match. Patricia Cormier, 31. Daniel Cormier, 7. Exit 47. October 13th, 1999. The article describes a rainy night, a vehicle leaving the roadway, the mother's body found in the driver's seat, the child's car seat empty. Searchers combed the woods and ravines for a week. They never found him. I clicked through archives, pulling up follow-up pieces. The search was called off after 10 days. Theories ranged from abduction to the child wandering into the wilderness and succumbing to exposure. No evidence of foul play beyond the missing child himself. The case went cold. No updates after early 2000. Another user, someone with FCC in their handle, leaves a long technical reply. They explain that low-power FM stations, particularly those run by colleges or community groups, sometimes broadcast from aging equipment housed in unmaintained repeater towers. If automation fails or gets corrupted, a station can loop the same content indefinitely. Old PSAs, test tones, dead air. It's rare, but documented. They've personally encountered loops running for months before anyone noticed and shut them down. But they also note that PSAs like the one I recorded would have been distributed on physical media, CDs, tapes, and stations would have logged when they aired them. A loop this specific, this localized, with details matching a real case, suggests either someone deliberately set it up or the automation pulled from a very old archive. They ask if I can confirm the names and details are accurate. I reply with the Roanoke Times link. The thread grows. By afternoon, I have over 200 comments. 3 more people confirm hearing the broadcast in different months, always at night, always within the same radius. Someone else digs up a photo of the rest area from 2001, nearly identical to how it looks now, down to the cinder block bathroom and the vending machines. I try calling the number mentioned in the broadcast, the one for the Virginia State Police tip line. It's disconnected. I find the main VSP contact and leave a message explaining what I heard and asking if they have records of the PSA or the case. I don't expect a callback. 2 days later, I'm back in Philadelphia, back in my apartment near Temple's campus, when my phone rings. The caller ID says Virginia State Police. The officer who speaks to me is polite but cautious. He confirms that the case exists, that it remains open but inactive, and that the department did distribute PSAs in late 1999. He says he'll pass my information to the detective who inherited the case file, but he doesn't commit to anything further. I ask if they ever found the child. He says no. I ask if they ever found evidence of what happened. He pauses, then says, "We have theories, nothing conclusive." Before he hangs up, he tells me the broadcast shouldn't still be airing. Any PSA from 1999 would have been pulled decades ago. I thank him and sit staring at my phone for a long time after the call ends. I file a Freedom of Information Act request with the Virginia State Police that afternoon. I list the case number from the news articles, request any public records related to the incident and investigation, and pay the processing fee online. The confirmation email says it may take 30 to 60 days. In the meantime, I keep checking the thread. The replies have slowed, but a few new voices chime in. Someone claims they drove to exit 47 specifically to test the frequency and couldn't pick it up. Wrong time of night, maybe, or they weren't in the right spot. Another user, a ham radio enthusiast, posts a technical breakdown of how FM signals propagate and suggests the loop might only be audible under specific atmospheric conditions or from particular locations within the radius. I'm halfway through my response when I notice a reply posted 20 minutes earlier from an account with no post history. The username is a string of numbers. The message is 2 sentences. "You shouldn't have recorded it. You're making it loop longer." I stare at the screen. The comment has no upvotes, no replies. I refresh the page. It's gone. I check my browser history, thinking I misread the URL or clicked into a different thread. Nothing. I search my notifications. Nothing. I close the laptop and don't open it again that night. The FOIA documents arrive 5 weeks later, a thick manila envelope with the Virginia State Police return address. I sit on my couch and spread the pages across the coffee table. Most of it is redacted, witness statements with names blacked out, investigative notes with entire paragraphs obscured. But there's enough. The coroner's report is near the bottom of the stack. Cause of death for Patricia Cormier, blunt force trauma, internal hemorrhaging, consistent with high-speed impact. Time of death estimated between 2 and 2:30 a.m. The vehicle left the roadway at a curve, struck an embankment, rolled once. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. The child's car seat was still strapped in the back, undamaged, the harness unbuckled from the inside. Then I see it, tucked into a supplemental note dated October 18, 1999. Trace evidence recovered from vehicle interior includes mud consistent with embankment soil, small handprint on rear passenger window, child-sized, smudged, and fabric fibers on door handle not matching victim's clothing. Fibers appear synthetic, possibly from outerwear. No match found in vehicle or victim's residence. The handprint. The fibers. Neither detail appeared in any of the news articles I read. I flip back to the PSA transcript I typed out from my recording. The broadcast didn't mention the handprint. It didn't mention the fibers. But it did mention the car seat being found intact. And that specific phrasing, intact but empty, matches the coroner's note word for word. I read the rest of the file twice, checking every redacted line, every footnote. The only other detail of note is a brief mention of a 911 call placed from a payphone near the rest area at 2:47 a.m. on October 13th, 30 minutes after the estimated time of death. The caller hung up without speaking. The call was logged, but not followed up on. I close the file and sit in the dark, my apartment silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. I don't drive that route again for months. When I do, December, heading home for Christmas, I make sure I pass exit 47 in daylight. I don't stop. I don't check the radio. But at night, sometimes, when I'm lying in bed and the street noise fades, I think I can hear it. Not the broadcast itself, but the shape of it, the rhythm of that voice, the measured repetition, the loop that keeps running somewhere in the dark. I've changed my routes. I take 64 now, even though it adds an hour. I keep my radio off when I drive at night. I don't post about it anymore. But I still check the threads sometimes, late at night when I can't sleep. New replies appear every few weeks. People hearing the same loop, the same frequency, the same location. Some of them ask questions. Some of them don't. None of them mention the handprint. None of them mention the fibers. I've stopped replying.